Hey, what's up, party people? Welcome to Australia Commentaries, coming to you live from the Fandom studio. Oh, wait, well, sort of. I'm here. Where are you guys? What's going on?
I'm in my room.
I'm in my living room, and I've got like boxes behind me that have my address on them. Hence I could move the boxes and clean my apartment, or I could just blur the background. So.
No, not on our account. We do have a COVID wave, I'd say, sort of sweeping tangentially to the people who work here. So out of an abundance of caution, we're all in separate locations. It's like, the president and the vice president and like the speaker of the house. They can't like all be in the same place all at one time.
Right. And out of fairness, this was the other roommate this time, and this is what I get for having this is what I get for having two roommates.
Ryan, you're like the designated survivor.
Yeah,
like if we all die, you're the king.
Kiefer Sutherland is watching Ms. Marvel in a secure location right now in case he needs to step up.
We are here to talk about probably anything except Stranger Things season 4, but that's ostensibly why we're here, because we did the honest trailer for it. It was a long show, and we all watched it longly. I thought it was pretty good, but we'll get into that later after we watch the honest trailer together. We're going to see some deleted scenes, and we will take comments and questions from viewers like you. So keep those coming in the chat, and Ryan will pass the best ones along to me. We'll also tease you with next week's episode, which will be fun. I'm excited for next week.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
Stranger Things season 4. Look, I thought it was one of the stronger seasons of the show. I thought it was like I lost interest in season 3, but this kind of peaked it again. And thought, okay, 5 seasons seems about the right amount. But what can you say? It's premium mediocre television. It's good mediocre television. is my encapsulated review. Way too long, but the kids are super charming, and a lot of them are good, and the story is good enough to keep you watching until the next scene, which is...
Oh, we lost audio.
He's saying you guys talk.
Just keep going.
You guys
okay,
talk.
great. I agree with a lot of that. I didn't, season 3 kind of pulled me out as well. It like wasn't necessarily my favorite. I liked a lot of this new season. I think one thing we definitely have to just go ahead and agree with as fans of the show or people who watch the show, don't fall in love with new characters. Just don't. Just save your heart. Just don't fall in love with them. Would be my best advice. But yeah, I liked all that stuff. I liked all the stuff with Vecna. Really good. I loved all of the attention that Lucas got this season. I'm glad that we got some really good meaty things for him to do. But yeah, I mean, I don't know if I would call it like mediocre, but it's also, that this kind of poppy, silly, a big mystery solved over the course of a season, Buffy type stuff is my stuff. So
can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah. I said premium mediocre. There's a difference. It's like it's not really good, but it's not bad. So yeah, I don't know. Lon, what do you think?
I mean, I think there's a thing that Stranger Things does really well. And it continues to do that thing really well, like hitting that like Amblin, Stephen King, 80s kids on a mission. It's creepy, but it's not disgusting or full blown. Like I think it toes that line, and it continues to do a good job with that. Again, like Vecna looks cool. It's a cool way to fold in like it's a little bit of a Nightmare on Elm Street element. There's a little bit of like a Scanners element, but it feels like it's grabbing from enough stuff that it doesn't feel totally reductive. But like, there's just so much fat now, like around the meat, like I just feel like their idea of how to make the show more epic is to just pad it out with a lot of stuff that you don't really need, instead of like actually making what happens feel more epic. And I mean, like, I think the two big examples would be, there's a very, very long desert road trip that we maybe didn't need to see the full breadth of. Like, I feel like we could have skipped some Utah probably along the ways, maybe a little North Arizona. And there's a long sequence in Kamchatka at this Soviet prison where they're breaking out of the prison. They got to go back to the prison. We caught you, you're betrayed, go back to prison, and now he's out again. And it's like, this is one in and out trip. I don't feel like we need 8 in and out trips.
There's a lot to pick apart here, and a lot that I think they could have left on the cutting room floor. Same with our honest trailer. So let's roll that. It's a long one, and we'll stop and start as we go.
Fair enough.
Now that their stock is in Pound Town, another Squid Game is still 2 years off, and you have more choices than ever when it comes to background noise. I mean streaming services. The only show keeping Netflix alive has returned. I think you should leave.
I don't know what to tell you, bud. We're just shooting funerals and showing the ones where the bodies fly out.
Also, Stranger Things. It's still pretty popular.
Pause. We had a lot of options when it came to I think you should leave clips, but as much as I have favorites from season 2, like the girl who's caught in the Charlie Brown leg, or sloppy steaks, as Ryan's putting out. Yeah. I think the most iconic one is probably Coffin Flop from season 2, right? The most recognizable.
I mean, Carl Havoc would be the only other one. The I don't even want to be here guy. Yeah, I think I have my other favorites, but I feel like those are the 2 that have become the most like fixtures in the internet firmament.
Yeah, and Adult Ghost Tour, that's good.
Yeah, Adult Ghost Tour. I mean, there's a little Buff Boys. There's a lot of great stuff.
That was part 2. Yeah, I thought just for an honest trailers, like kind of more genre oriented audience, the Ghost of Christmas Future with like where he's in the mech suit and
the Bonies. Fighting the Bonies. That's season 1 though. That's season 1 though.
Yeah.
The Bonies.
Yeah. Oh well. Can we just watch?
Did you see that? I think you should leave. I think you should leave. It's up for a few Emmys.
Oh, good.
But one of them is like best short form variety, and it's up against our old friends like Carpool Karaoke, Randy Rainbow. It's like, this isn't. You shouldn't even put Tim Robinson up against Randy Rainbow. That's a different category of content, folks. I don't
Man, we're just we are the Sharks and the Jets with Randy Rainbow. We're just never letting it go.
I feel like even Randy Rainbow would be like, no, come on, that's like something beyond what I'm doing. Yeah, I would hope so. I would hope Randy Rainbow would have that level of.
It was never quite. They never quite figured out our Emmy category because it was, a Randy Rainbow, an honest trailer, and then it was like The Daily Show and Carpool Karaoke.
But that's what this category is. It's like Stephen Colbert's tuning out the news versus Carpool Karaoke versus Randy. It's basically they got our spot. Like Tim Robinson got the honest trailer spot, well, and fine, more power. He deserves it.
We got to start auto-tuning that news again. That's what we're
we're epic meal time, folks. Where are those guys?
All right, keep going.
Dubois. There's only one more season until Stranger Things is over, and one more year until these kids can legally drink. Now, the Duffers are serving up 13 more hours of 80s reference stew.
Fast Times at Ridgemont High, Cheech and Chong's next movie, 16 Candles, Teen Wolf, and Romancing the Stone.
But since they're almost out of Stephen King to crib from, almost, they're tapping brand new sources of nostalgia, like heavy metal album covers, famous 90s movies, and in some real snake eating its own butthole moments, early seasons of Stranger Things. Oh, Stranger Things. I liked that show when I was a kid. Goonies, Never Say Die.
So let's take bets right here. The spinoff. Because they're doing 5 seasons and then they're going to move on to something else. I would put any amount, well, not any amount of money. I will bet $90 that it's going to be set in the 90s, one way or another. They're going to find some reason, whether the kids are grown up and they're flashing back to the 90s, or it's a new cast in the 90s. They can't do this show without a new slop bucket full of references that people recognize. They can't do the 70s or the 60s or something that people alive and know how to work Netflix can recognize. So this, I'm putting down my marker. This will be a 90s show one way or another. What say you?
I don't think that that's a bad call. Like I can 100% say that. I don't think that that's a bad call at all.
I feel like that's the obvious way to go. My only caveat to that is I do think that a way to do it would be, it's already so sort of like loosely inspired by It, that I feel like one way to do a follow-up would be it cuts to a generation later, and it's like the evil has returned to Dawkins, and at least one or two of the adult versions of the kids have to come back, Derry style, and like, we thought we'd gotten rid of Vecna before, but now he's infecting the new kids and we gotta stop him for good. And like, there is such they love their Stephen King nods, and like, that is such a Stephen King thing to do that I almost feel like it's hard to resist. So the spinoff is like It Chapter 2.
God, you gave me an idea though. Maybe it's set in the near future and they're nostalgic for the present. They're like, ooh,
yeah.
Randy Rainbow.
Yeah. Oh, that's actually very clever. So it's 2030, but it's like, remember Doja Cat?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm gonna talk about that.
We can get into that. Yeah. Well, we can. You want to talk about that now or later?
We can talk about Doja Cat's feud with the cast of Stranger Things.
It is literally the funniest thing in the world. So for those, I'm sure that with this audience, there isn't going to be too much overlap in this one. Doja Cat, the pop singer rapper, slid into Noah, the kid who plays Will, slid into his DMs, 17-year-old kid, to be like, yo, hook me up with your friend Eddie. And so
she couldn't find the Instagram for actor Joseph Quinn, who plays Eddie. And so she was like, how do I contact him? And he was like, he's on Instagram. And then Will said, the kid who plays Will, sent her the Instagram link. But then
and they do not know each other, by the way. Like, it wasn't one of those things where it's like they were buds. I don't even know if they followed each other. She was just like, his DMs are open and I'm getting in them.
Yeah.
And so then he like mentioned it because he's a child and it's funny. And then she was like, that's some real snake shit. Like, she got real cranky at a child. It's like, I don't understand why. What is it with like hip hop pop stars who don't understand that you don't need to be private messaging a child that's in Stranger Things? Drake, leave that little girl alone. Doja, leave that little boy alone. Stay out of the DMs of minors.
It's such a power.
I think that's a message we can all get behind.
Yeah, to become a celebrity, and then suddenly, like, Instagram is just your personal, like, you're like, I'm a celebrity, I'm allowed in those DMs. I'm like, some people can't handle all that power. They just like lose it right away.
And we had just forgiven her for racial foot chat, and now this.
Yeah. Huh?
Oh, it's a whole.
I'll tell you off air. It's so funny.
Okay, let's speed through this. I want to hear that. All right, keep going.
And Stranger Things took that to heart.
Last night, we couldn't even take one group picture because there was like 50 of us. I was like, you need to start killing people off.
They just need to have one massacre scene.
As always, there's Millie Bobby Brown's 11, who's still getting more nosebleeds than a horny anime guy. Watch her get bullied at regular school, and Xavier's Academy for Gifted Youngsters, putting the young actress through more pain and abuse than the time she went on Hot Ones.
My face doesn't feel like my face.
Then catch up with Mike. Will.
There's also, I suggest that, well, I love Hot Ones, so you should watch it just because it's fun. But the actor who plays Will takes a huge L on that show because he comes on camera while she's doing Hot Ones, and she's basically like, and he's like, oh, it's not that hot, like this wing is fine, and Millie Bobby Brown's like, you weren't invited to do this show, beat it. Like, nobody wants to watch you eat wings, they want to watch me eat wings.
My favorite part of that is like, why would you do this to me? I'm just a little guy. I'm just small.
So small.
I'm so small.
Her English accent, like, I know she's really British. I'm not saying I don't think she's really British, but for some reason her English accent sounds faker to me than when she's doing an American. Like, I believe
you're a Millie Bobby Brown truther. That
I believe Eleven's voice British. More than the real Millie Bobby Brown. It throws me every time. And I've seen like Enola Holmes where she does it the whole movie, but like, I don't know, it always throws me every time a British voice comes out of her.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things when you are forced to do, and she has a great American accent, when you are forced to like learn to do the American accent like that young, it starts like bleeding in almost. Like she's almost reverse Madonna-ing.
Right, exactly. She's got that sound of an American doing a British accent, but she's not. She's from there. I'm not a truther. I believe she's from there.
We should do a game of secretly British, because there's more and more people every day are secretly British, and I for one have had enough. All right, keep playing.
Then catch up with Mike, Will, Jonathan, and an enchanted bong who came to life.
That's a funny word, man. But
For an indie road trip dramedy about that unforgettable.
I do think it would have been an amazing twist if at the end, lights are going out here.
Wave your arms around.
If at the end, Jonathan was like, "Thank you, Argyle," and the other kids were like, "Who's Argyle?"
or like they killed back there, and Argyle's like, "All right, my work on this planet's done, man," and then he just like disappears. Yeah.
Anyways, that's all. Keep going.
We're gonna go run around. Gay in the back of a van. Plus, there's Lucas and Max. He's pretending not to be a nerd, while we're pretending an 80s trailer park kid likes Kate Bush more than Skinnerd. And don't forget Dustin, Steve, Erica, Robin, Nancy, Blossom, Jughead, and Gwildor. This exposition gang is here to speedrun us through all the nerdy lore of the Upside Down.
Gwildor. The Demogorgon was just his foot soldier. Vecna's his 5-star general.
While protecting an absolute legend named Eddie Munson. This metalhead with a heart of gold must stay one step ahead of a terrible curse, being a fan-favorite newcomer on Stranger Things.
No good.
Dang it, again? Justice for Eddie. You too, Chrissy. You too, newspaper twerp. You too, other bully. Had enough characters? Well...
So they kill off everyone's favorite person, but at the end, I was unclear. Can 11 raise the dead now?
Well,
like with Max, like did she bring her back to life?
It's unclear. I feel like we don't quite know how Max is gonna work. Apparently, what the Duffers have since said is that the original plan was just Max is dead, and then at like a last second audible, they were like, "Nah, it's gonna really upset people. We'll leave her in a coma and let it linger, and we'll decide next year what to do." So I feel like it could be that Max is now going to be some sort of like conduit to the, like that will be important, that she's still connected to the Upside Down in some way. So maybe it's that instead. But it otherwise, yeah, it does kind of seem like she discovered a new force power. She's got that like ray force healing.
That's so revealing is that they decided to change course because they realized that would upset people, and it's like, you're ostensibly making drama, like upsetting people means it's working, like you're affecting them. No?
Look, you just got to get up. The Duffers got to stop reading the comments. Like, y'all got to get off Twitter.
Right. I feel like
stop reading
the Barb thing. People reacted so negatively to the Barb thing. They were like, oh, they love these characters. They don't want us to kill anybody. And so now they like,
on our horror show,
invent one character a year as like fodder. Like, all right, we'll kill Sean Astin. Yeah. But everybody else, all the legacy characters that everybody likes get to live. And like, I don't, and I saw that they were like, there could be stakes without death. And I totally agree with that. Like, I don't think you need to kill characters for there to be stakes. I think you need to kill some of these characters because there's just friggin' too many characters. And if you want to keep following all of these people, we got to start thinning the herd a bit. It's just like ridiculous now.
Yeah, you don't even have to kill them off. You could just we could just stop following Joyce and Hopper. Like that's okay. Like I could just assume, like all the other adults on Stranger Things, like they're just kind of uninterested in whatever their children.
They went back
to
their lives. Yeah. Well, it's because also now we're doing these like redundancy things. Like so, you still have Hopper, who was in the first season. He was there to be the chief of police. Like that was. You need a chief of police in Hawkins to be like, what's going on? Ghosts, huh? That doesn't sound right. But now they've introduced not only Rob Morgan as the new chief of police, but John Reynolds as his like main officer, deputy, whatever. And you still have Hopper. Like we keep doing that in every, like there was one bully and now there's 8 bullies. And there was one cool older friend and now there's 12 cool older friends. And it's like, you can't introduce all the new people without culling some of the older people, or it just becomes ungainly.
Agreed. Yeah.
All right. I want one of those like those Simpsons episodes where it just focuses on everyone we've met around the town. I just want like one of those with everyone in Hawkins.
Yeah, it feels like Star Trek, but they want you to get to know everybody on the Enterprise. It's like, no, a lot of those people are just in shirts in their background. Like you don't have to worry about them.
Skinner, your oven's on fire. Oh, it's just the Upside Down.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just a portal.
Yeah, 22 short stories about Hawkins.
Yeah. All right, keep going.
Characters? Well, too bad, because most of the adults are still alive too, and they're slogging through cuttable plot lines like my 2 lab dads.
You don't understand what he's capable of.
This is not our choice, whether she wants to stay or go, right, Doc?
The Great Russian Trope-Off.
Я слыхал, что какой-то контрабандист ореховой пасты был некогда отличным парнем.
And Joyce and Murray's epic side quest to bring back Chief Hopper.
The fact that we know anything about Yuri and what's the other guy's name? The Yakun Hagar.
They call him Enzo.
Enzo, yeah. All minutes of my life I will never have back. And like they are just there to get Joyce to Hopper and then get them out. And the fact that they spent any time, we're like, we really need to know about like where these guys come from and their history and whether he's a coward or not, and will he overcome the stigma about the peanut butter smuggler? Like, what? Why am I watching this? What is happening? Where are the children?
And like the eventual connection, like the payoff at the end of the season for all this stuff is like him killing these monsters in the Soviet Union is going to somehow help the kids. And like, we get, it sort of tangentially is suggested that it helps, but like, it's so thin. It's almost like, why even bother? Just like establish that Murray and Joyce are going there to save him and then have him come back at the end of the season. You don't need all that other stuff. I really feel like it's there to make it feel more, epic and bigger. And like, you've seen this more elaborate season play out, but like,
I guess I just feel like when they had the whole of if you have to include Hopper and the Soviet Union and Joyce and stuff like that, like there are way better 80s movies to steal from. Like if that's their thing, like just steal from a better movie than whatever they were doing there. I don't know.
I don't really know if that was stolen from a movie. It just feels like it's a lot of like, I mean, it's a lot of generic like prison tropes, but it's just like, it just felt perfunctory and it felt like it felt padded. It felt like, okay, he gets out and then it's like, oh, but it was a betrayal and they're waiting for you and now you go right back in. It's like, well, what's the point of all that if you're just going to end up right back where you started?
Right. But if you wanted to drop like an 80s action movie into the middle of Stranger Things, like that was your chance, but no, big flop.
No, not really.
All right.
And I would suggest Beverly Hills Cop. I just want to see a bunch of bananas and tailpipes.
David Harbour getting thrown into the street through a pane glass window.
All right,
I'm gonna die someday, but not today.
A character who should be dead, but someone wanted to watch David Harbour get tortured. Like a lot. Stop! He wasn't that bad in the Hellboy remake.
Let's seal it with a kiss.
Okay, just one more time. But Hopper is not the only lumbering, unkillable
pause.
bald monster.
I should apologize because I actually haven't seen the Hellboy remake. I just assumed it was bad. You've seen it, right, Lon?
Yeah, I look. It's got some problems, and I feel like it's one of those that's like their eyes were a lot bigger than their budget. Like it's very ambitious in terms of creature effects and the sets and everything, and it can't get there. And so I think a lot of people hold that like strongly against it, and it does. Like a lot of it looks gross. I'll be first to admit, but I think it's not the movie. I don't think is the worst ever, and I think there are some kind of cool, fun ideas that feel like Hellboy comics in there. It's just you got to wade through a lot of like Paul W.S. Anderson level effects to get to it.
All right, yeah, justice for Hellboy. Maybe we'll rewatch that.
I think it's like I think Morbius is a lot worse. Yeah. Like Hellboy's aiming a lot higher than Morbius, and I give it credit for that. But it's not a total success at all. I don't feel bad making fun of it in this
way. That's all we ask.
It deserves these licks. Come on,
keep going.
There's Vecna, a psychic with the wettest tentacles you've ever seen squelch. After 11 send him to the Upside Down and burn his dick off, Skeletor's cousin, who had too much work done, is back for revenge. And he'll get it in a 5-step, 7-day-long process for killing one kid that feels pretty inefficient for America these days.
I'll throw in 20 rounds of buckshot for you.
But it's the first time we've seen an even matchup.
I thought that was just such quintessential Americana, where it's like all these teenagers are running into each other at the gun store.
Yeah.
We're all buying guns at the same time. Like, don't you hate it when that happens?
Yeah. It was weirdly too. There was this one chunk that felt very 70s in the middle of the Stranger Things 80s show, where it was like they're all like covered in grime and piling into this like Winnebago to go to the gun store, and James Taylor's playing on the way there, and then they get to the gun store and Rock and Roll Hoochie Coo is on, like the most 70s song. And it was like, wait, is this Stranger Things, or are we doing Dukes of Hazzard now?
Somebody put on some neon. I'm lost and confused.
Yeah, where are the leg warmers and the aerobics tapes, folks? Come on.
All right, keep going.
For 11, as long as you overlook his only 2 weaknesses, music and friendship.
No, they're using the buddy system. Ah, it burns.
So get ready for more cozy, bingeable comfort food that you would have stopped watching years ago if it weren't for your parasocial relationship with the cast, as Netflix begs you to stick with them through their awkward phase.
You're grown.
Yeah. And if we keep our subscriptions until the next earnings report, they can pretend it's 2020 again.
Come on, guys, stick around. It's just 10 to 20 bucks a month. Even cheaper once we fill full of ads. Don't you want to know if this is cake? No? You'll be back for season 5.
Starring. Take.
Yeah, you guys watch Is It Cake?
I feel like that's cake.
I think that one.
What do you think?
That one.
You bring that back up on the screen if you have a chance.
I'm pretty sure this one feels like cake to me.
I'm like 50-50 on Is It Cake? You know, it's I'm
like
not perfect.
50-50 whether or not you like it, or 50-50 as
no, whether or not
things
are cake. Yeah.
I'm very curious. This is one of those rare things where I wonder if you're in the studio, if it's easier or harder.
It must be harder.
Like, right. I feel like it would be more challenging if you were live.
Oh, because you're like far.
Right. Here we're close
That's
up.
Cake.
Like, this is cake, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. You can tell by the edge right there.
Yeah, it's the base. That doesn't look like
it's the
real
base.
Wood, you know.
Yeah.
That's definitely cake. Well, this has been fun.
It's much easier to play along with this one at home than Floor is Lava.
Yeah. Because for Is It Cake, they can adjust the lighting. And you've got Mikey Day distracting you. You know, it's not ideal cake spotting conditions.
Have you seen? It was on Quibi. Now it's on Roku. Dismantled.
No.
Titus Burgess hosts that one. That's chefs, and they put you in a blindfold, and they put you in an isolation booth, and then they use a food cannon to shoot a dish at you, and you have to
what are we doing?
You have to taste the food as it's shot at you, and then recreate that dish. Like, guess what the food was.
What are we doing?
Recreate it. This is a real show. It's on Roku
Content,
now.
baby.
Dismantled. Yeah.
Well,
so like sometimes it's easy where it's like, oh, there's pesto in this. It must be, and then they make a pesto. But like other times it's just like sea bass. I don't know.
Yeah.
I feel like I'd be too traumatized by having food shot at my face. I'd be like, I don't know what just happened. You just shot food at me.
Right.
They should call it Yum Shot. So there's a Japanese show that I prefer to Is It Cake because I think the stakes are a little higher. I don't know what it's called, but somebody is put in a room where certain objects are made of food and other objects.
Oh, right.
They have to guess with their mouth.
Right.
Like they
can't touch it with their hands.
Like,
they
have to
like
take a
lick.
bite
Yeah,
and find out what's what. So why can't they just adapt that? All right.
I'm sure they will. They'll get on. To be next year.
Take this L. How many fins could a wolf-hard wolf if a Finn wolf could wolf hard? You can't put that haircut on a grown man. It's cruel. Dusty the Clown. Cleeks and Geeks. Stephen King. Nan Helsing. This one time at band camp, buyer's remorse.
My only regret is that I have bonitis.
2 years away from starring in Beetlejuice.
Get to the hopper.
This is what happens when you pirate Metallica, kids. Nina Papa always gets paid. Venti. Like, wow, Scoob. Yak Win, the USSR. And the Duffer Brothers' one rule for their core characters.
Everything works out. Happy ending for everybody.
Epic Creel time. Okay, I'll just say it. Jason had every reason to think the last person seen alive with his dead girlfriend, a drug dealer who went into hiding, was the murderer. But hey, cut him in half for not being caught up on the lore, sure.
Pause.
He kind of has a few seconds to like get up there. I have my issues with the pacing of that final shot where we're following the like lava flow right up to his gut. Like if you see like the literally the ground is splitting open into a fiery crevasse.
And he was tied down by something, by a squelching tentacle. I don't remember.
Is there a squelching tentacle? Let us know in the comments.
Holding him down moistly.
Like you gotta like lunge in one or the other direction, man. You can't just lay perfectly. I assume this will work out all right.
I figured they would have given him a more gratuitous death scene, given that he was like the big bad bully.
Yeah, that's another thing where it's like we follow him so consistently throughout the season that he's going to be this huge threat, and then he like delays Lucas by a few minutes. Like it's really like what was the point of all of that?
And look, I'm obviously being very trollish by doing any kind of justice for Jason thing, but I do think that if your girlfriend dies and the last person she was with disappears, he's a drug dealer, you're probably like, okay, that guy killed her. I'm going to find him. And obviously it's not good to round up a posse and take the law into your own hands. Especially but then again, when you weirdo like, when you come across you finally track them down and somebody is definitely in a trance, in a satanic trance. Again, it's like, okay, they're probably the bad guys.
Also, if he acts like Meatloaf in Rocky Horror all the time, you're like, there's something off about this guy. I don't know.
Yeah.
We're not in a production of Rocky Horror right now. This is just high school.
Yeah. All right, let's do some deleted scenes. See what else we got in there.
Starring. She's a 10, but with one more added on. Millie Baldy Brown. Joanne the Scanner.
Gosh dang it, Millie Bobby, go to your room. Tell you what, that girl ain't right.
Wolfhard with a Vengeance. Lackluster Afterlife. Superhero Fetish. Summer of Bowl. Coming Out That Will. Likes Mike. Scary and the Hendersons. Angel Dust. Dust Bustin'. Kid at Play. Ballers. Jock Jams. Kiri, Indiana. From Batman. Batman! Wheeler and Dealer. Editor in Grief. Hog Girl. The Dream Warrior. Save the Last Trans. Ode to Joyce. The Multiverse of Mobness. Red Baron or Guardian.
In Soviet Russia, reason escapes you.
Dungeon Master of Puppets. Shredding Crashers. Cried into the DMs. Modine, Mo Problems. One Flay at a Time. Mindhunter. Clock King. Creeled of Dreams. Literal Spider-Man. You ever watch Stranger Things? On weed? Yakov Kirkland brand vodka. Yuri the Worst. We come to this place for magic. A really messed up thing to say about your black friend for playing basketball.
You saying Sinclair's been taken in by the dark side? Something like that.
Kate Bush v. Gore.
Yeah, that was in context where they're like, yeah, Lucas he doesn't want to do nerdy stuff anymore. He just wants to play basketball. Like, so he's gone to the dark side? Like, wow, Eddie. Wow, way to go, dude.
Oh, man. I don't know. Something weird about this guy. I don't know. I hope he doesn't murder our most popular classmate.
Oh man, Eddie will be back. Trust me. They'll find a way after this. The Duffers will be like, just kidding. He's in the Upside Down. He's now a bad man. All right. Let's
13 hours. The secret child soldiers of Hawkins. I think you should grieve. Stranger Things season more.
There are factions within our government who are working directly against 11.
Yeah, but like, does it matter? So, no then. Cool, thanks.
Does not matter.
Yeah, we spent
all that for nothing.
I guess it'll pay off next season, right?
Presumably. I mean, next season is after a time jump. So that guy is standing there on the side of the road in the desert for like 2 years. He's shaking his fists.
Yeah. All right.
What is that?
We're going to move on to take some questions. But before that, thank you for watching. Please like, please subscribe, please hit the ding-a-ling, and you'll never miss another thing we do. Similarly, there's a Fandom Twitch channel. I know we keep threatening to do live watch-alongs, but we'll get one of those going this summer so we can all hang out and watch movies together, which sounds like fun. But right now, it's twitch.tv/fandom. Check it out, subscribe. There's already good Honest Game trailer stuff up there and other things. Now, on to your questions. Greta Genie says, Honest Trailers is my comfort food, my junk food, and my background noise. Haha. Greetings from Bogota, Colombia. Don't you dare say Colombia. I do think friendship and music could save the world. That's awesome. Hey, you seem cool. I also shout out to Colombia, which is the only place my kid wants to live after watching Encanto on repeat for the last year and a half.
I love this.
So obsessed with Colombia. So
I mean, but she probably thinks the magic is real there. You gotta like
the magic.
Yeah, you gotta temper it down.
You might want to like all those delicious foods you see. We can go try, but like there's no magic out.
Yeah, like we could just have arepas here probably, but no, we'll not settle for that. Let's see. Pat Magana asks, why didn't we do the trailer for seasons 2 and 3? I don't remember. I don't know why we didn't.
I don't remember either. I was thinking about this. I thought the first one we did was both seasons 1 and 2, but maybe it was timed. But yeah, I couldn't remember why we did. Yeah. I thought we
There's
did.
your answer. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I was already working on Honest Trailers when 3 came out. I don't know I don't remember us even having a conversation about it.
Yeah. So sometimes things just slip through the cracks, and TV is obviously a bigger commitment than movies. So like,
yeah, I feel like we just
and there were more
TV.
movies then. Yeah,
we just did less TV than generally.
Yeah.
Was that Blockbuster Summer? I'm trying to remember.
It might have been.
So Peterson Roberto da Silva says, I'd love to know all of our opinion on the length of the last episode. I mean, I'm fine with it. It's just in context of the whole season. There were just plot lines that we didn't need. I think that we all agree Joyce and Hopper and all the government faction stuff and a lot of the van time could just be lost with no real hit to the overall quality of that season. And it would have been 10 hours instead of 13. And I think that would have made a big difference.
Yeah, I mean that's basically how I feel like every season of Stranger Things is format wise basically the same. Like meet some new characters, catch up with everybody. There's a new threat. 11 needs to recharge her powers in order to face it, and then at the end they face off. It looks like it's gone, but we get a little clue that maybe not totally gone, coming back, and that's fine. I think it's okay for TV shows to do that. But then you don't keep growing in size and portent every time because we could start to see through it. It doesn't feel as epic because we kind of know where it's all going. And that's how I felt by the final episode. It wasn't that, like, I think you could justify a 2.5 hour season finale length. They just maybe don't.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Keith Frazier says, a question for the panel. Is Netflix really having a crisis, collapse, or whatever? Or is it just that they're no longer one of only 2 really big streaming services?
This is a great point. I think this is a really good question.
But to that, I say like, potato, because it's like they are spending in order to become like the only option, or at least a must-have option when it comes to streaming services. So any amount of attrition is like catastrophic for them. They are built around the premise that they will have everybody in the world sign up for Netflix. So if they are not growing, they are dying, as at least according to their, to the investors.
Right. And it is one of those things that you have to remember that a lot of these other streaming services, like the streaming service is something in addition to something they already do successfully. Like Max they already have HBO. Amazon is already Amazon. Netflix, this is like the only thing that they do is this. There isn't like another, they don't like sell books. And if they did, y'all wouldn't read them, but they don't do anything else. And so that's why like this is so important for them, where it's obviously it's important for everyone else too. But Peacock is NBC. Like they like if any of those services don't necessarily aren't number one, they've got another thing. It's like when Sony and Microsoft entered the console wars, and it's like Nintendo, all they do is games, but like Sony and Microsoft can afford to take hits on stuff before the gaming started getting really profitable because they had all of these other things that they were doing.
It's like Ricky Bobby said, if you're not first, you're last.
You're also at a point where those top three, like Netflix, Disney Plus, HBO Max, at this point, it's just new markets. Like they're launched in a lot of the world. People in those markets have had years to decide, do I want Netflix? Do I want to give up my Netflix to get this one? Do I want that one? So there's just like, we're getting to the point now where the kind of lines are sort of drawn, and any big change is significant. Like there was just this whole big thing about who's going to get Indian Premier League cricket rights, just because they're now, that's a huge front in the streaming wars, is like the Indian market, because the American market is like, we've all picked already. Like maybe there'll be a new thing, or like a few people will change per year. Like, oh, I'm going to get Paramount to watch Star Trek shows, and I'm going to leave Amazon because I don't care about these shows, whatever. But like, at this point, a lot of it comes down to just, well, where are you launching next? And like, we got to open up in Malaysia, or we got to get the Middle East, or like, when are we going to sub-Saharan Africa, and like trying to hit those last remaining markets.
Yeah. I mean, in a world that makes sense, it's okay to stop growing and to just be where you're at and make something good for the people who are already signed on, but that's just not
our world. And the stock, people are always watching, who's growing fastest and attrition rates and all that for the stock, which is really what this is all about.
Yeah.
The stock.
All right. We can end on this. Besides Stranger Things and the OC, which show had the best glow up after a drop? And I agree with you. The OC had a down season, but I enjoyed every single one of them. But I think that for me, the obvious one is Friday Night Lights.
I'm gonna say it. You took it right out of my mouth.
Season 2, when MTV gave the note of like, maybe Jesse Plemons should kill somebody. and then it just becomes this like super campy teen drama for about 6 episodes in the middle of season 2, and then it gets back on track. That's worth a rewatch, right? I haven't seen that in like 10 years.
It's worth a rewatch for sure.
I've actually never seen that.
Oh,
it's like the nucleus of like so many great actors that we have today, right?
Yeah, for sure. I was going to say Twin Peaks is kind of a classic example where the first season and then the beginning of season 2, so amazing. And you had Lynch and Frost both firing on all cylinders. And then ABC forces them to reveal Laura Palmer's killer. Lynch kind of loses interest and starts doing other stuff. The show takes a definite sort of mid-season 2 crater where there's just a run of episodes that are clearly less interesting than the rest. But then Lynch came back, and they close on a real, like the last few episodes of Twin Peaks season 2 were like, wow, amazing. So I would say that one, like real finish on a real high. And then of course you've got The Return and all those other, it returned to greatness.
Yeah. All right. Well, sweet. There's a lot of lore questions that have also come in, but I don't know. Like, what is Vecna gonna do now? And like, what's Max's role gonna be in season 5?
Yeah,
I have no idea.
I don't even know if they know. I feel like they know where it all. Like, I feel like they probably got an end point in mind. Yeah. I don't think they know how they get there yet.
No, not with a name like the Duffer Brothers. Come on, what do they know? Change that name. That's my first note. You gotta punch that up. Next week we will be back. I'm very excited for this. Here's your clue. It's related to Thor 4, but maybe not in the way you'd think. That's your clue.
I'm gonna go ahead and say definitely not in the way you think.
Yeah. Yeah, a little offbeat choice. Yeah. We've done some big popular things. This one's just for us and just for you, the audience here at Honest Trailer Commentaries. Thank you, Danielle. Thank you, Lon, for hanging out with me here at the studio. Hope to see you in person next week. Hope everyone's feeling better. And we'll see you then. Bye-bye.
Bye.